your neighborhood, and then this is what's all around.
And they constantly building.
And this is where they want to put the desalination plant.
Yeah. Over to the right, down that street.
That water is for the refineries and industry.
It's not fair. It's just not fair.
This town with 500,000 residents is about to completely run out of water.
Our main water sources, they are more than 90% empty, which is insane.
Corpus Christi is running out of water, but how bad is it?
Officials are warning that that city could face a water emergency.
Who's to blame? That question is at the center of this latest battle in Texas's water wars. On one side are residents who are being ordered to curtail their water usage as the city nears a water emergency.
Your narratives are constantly changing. We're running out of water. No, we're not running out of water. Our narrative has never changed.
And on the other side of the fight, giant oil, gas, and petrochemical companies wielding their power over local lawmakers.
Are your members willing to shut down operations if there is a severe emergency that's declared?
Well, they never want to shut down operations.
I came to Corpus Christi during a critical time as city council, state, and federal lawmakers have to figure out how to navigate their way out of this urgent crisis.
We don't matter to them. All we are is just a location. We're a pot of gold that they want.
I'm at City Hall right now for a city council meeting that's about to start, where angry residents are coming here today to make their voices heard that they don't want industry to be taking their water, and they want to know what lawmakers are willing to do to stop it.
We want a city council that works for our community as it's meant to be.
With the city facing down a water supply emergency, city officials are weighing their options.
It seems like big industry and desal will win, because greed causes people to simply not care about what they're doing to water and to the people of Corpus Christi.
Let's rewind a bit. How did we get here? More than 60% of Texas is currently in a severe drought or worse. But Corpus Christi's crisis is unique. More than 60% of the city's water supply is consumed by big industrial water customers, oil, gas, and petrochemical companies, guzzling tens of millions of gallons every day. Billions of gallons every year.
Do you see these sources literally drying up?
Oh yes, yes, everybody does, because it's just shrinking and shrinking. We have to do a better job at relaying these messages, the implications.
Lifelong resident Mona Lytle says big industry's water use is driving people out of her neighborhood.
This way they can make us go away and disappear and say it was because of a need of water. But how can you say that when you constantly give an industry first deal of water? There's an area called Industry Road. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh, it's 20-some miles like of industry. I can take you there. This is Industry Road.
She points to the refinery's cooling towers, where a majority of the city's water supply ends up.
See everything coming out? That's the dragon. That's the dragon smoke.
Mona toured us around the Hillcrest neighborhood, a historically black community where she grew up, that sits on the shores of Port Corpus Christi. She told me residents had been all but erased from the inner harbor, with homes and entire streets bought out to make way for big oil, gas, and petrochemical plants.
All these spaces, this is where we had property. We had property everywhere. And now it's just a few of us.
We don't water our lawns, we don't wash our cars. We need water for bathing, cooking, cleaning.
Residents across the city have been under level 3 water restrictions and face a $500 fine if they break the rules.
It's infuriating. Like, I boil eggs in the morning and I'll let my water cool and I'll leave it on the stove so that I can go and water my plants. I'm just like, this is so ridiculous.
Okay, maybe water restrictions make sense during a drought, right? But then Isabel Atalaya told me something really crazy.
You have the highest volume water users. For 31 cents per 1,000 gallons, they can use all the water they want. They're exempt from the drought surcharge. The city's own water dashboard, it shows that high volume water users have used more water in 2025 when we were in drought stage 3 than they did in 2022.
So in the midst of drought, the city's policy is to allow big industrial users to keep guzzling as much as they want at lower cost, while residents face drought restrictions. Even as water supply went down, big industry's water use went up. The top industrial water users in the region consumed over 20 billion gallons in 2025.
Is that really accurate?
Well, that's what the city's reporting.
And get this, one of the largest water users is also one of the newest to come online. ExxonMobil and the Saudi state oil company got city officials to sign over a large portion of their water to build a $10 billion plant to make plastics from methane gas. It opened in late 2021. And another company, Steel Dynamics, also a big water user, opened around the same time. Collectively, these 6 corporations are some of the highest volume water users in Corpus Christi, using nearly 57 billion gallons of water in a 3-year period alone, over 3 times that of Corpus Christi's residential water users.
They have to use less. There's no way around it.
So what was the city thinking? With water supply already proving fragile, why were they promising big industries so much water they didn't have?
I'm on my way right now to meet Jim Klein. He's a former city councilman who was there during critical discussions in city government a couple of years ago. I want to ask him where he thinks government went wrong.
I think that there's been a long-standing attitude here in Corpus Christi that bringing new businesses in is an unqualified good for the city.
Klein says the city's decision to sell water it didn't have to attract new industry set the region down a dangerous course.
Exxon Savior Company, they wanted to use 25 million gallons of water a day. This is going to be a significant increase. And so a number of environmentalists, myself included, went to the council, made public comments saying, don't do this. That if you agree to this contract, you're going to sell off our cushion against a drought. And the city council voted 9-0 to do it anyway.
Industry has been hoping city council would greenlight plans to build a water desalination plant in the Inner Harbor to keep supplies steady despite drought. But the plant also poses risks.
They want to discharge the salty brine after you desalinate the water. We're concerned about increasing the salinity of the bay, killing off the plant animal life there.
What got the Inner Harbor desal project off track is it just got so expensive. It started out at a couple $100 million, then it went to $750 million, and then as it grew to $1.2 billion. That's a big nut to swallow.
The city council voted down plans for the Inner Harbor desalination plant in September 2026. While Texas Governor Greg Abbott might be furious,
they squandered it, and then they changed their plan, and then they were indecisive about what to do.
Isabel Atalaya and the group she formed with other concerned residents called For the Greater Good celebrated the win.
He didn't give it to us. It's in the form of a loan. So we're looking at like $100 million for interest in maintenance operations in a city whose population has been declining, but whose industrial footprint has been expanding.
But the water emergency remains unresolved, and Atalaya says the fight is far from over.
We reached out to those large users and asked them if they could tell us the efforts that they're taking, if they could project their decrease in demand.
They were a little hesitant to give it. They won't give it directly to us, the proprietary information.
She showed me where big industry is putting their money.
The last election cycle, there was this PAC that was formed called the Coastal Bend Coalition, and you'll notice it says, right, responsible government for the Coastal Bend. This is how much they have in expenditures. This was for through 2024, so that was that election cycle.
It's $250,000 to city council members.
Yes. What they did is they even put together a list of candidates that they endorsed, and they flooded the different positions on the city council.
I'm on my way to meet Roland Barrera right now. He's a city councilman, and he's one of the staunchest supporters of big industry. I want to see what he thinks about the crisis.
We need to recognize our identity and understand that in order for us to retain that industry, we need to be competitive when it comes to water. Water is a commodity.
As Barrera spoke, I recalled former councilman Jim Klein had said the exact opposite.
Many times they refer to water as a commodity. We can't think about it that way. It's a resource, an increasingly scarce resource.
So in your view, industry should take as much water as they need?
If we want that to be part of our economy, and that's who we want to identify with, then we need to be able to provide that resource.
Barrera supported the ExxonMobil Saudi plastics deal, as well as Steel Dynamics, and voted in favor of the desalination proposals.
Do you understand why residents reject that idea?
I do. I understand their concerns. Once again, what we have to recognize is we've got to solve this problem. We need to either decide, are we an industrial community or not?
Even if a desalination plant gets approved and built, it wouldn't solve Corpus Christi's water shortage in the short term.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be real tough.
Civil engineer John Michael is working on groundwater projects. It's his fourth drought, but says this is the worst he's seen.
I wake up in the middle of the night thinking about this problem, almost every night.
So this is your plan for emergency wells?
We're drilling emergency wells along the Nueces River.
The city is working to secure leases with private landowners to pull water from their wells and add additional volume to the city's water supply.
That's what this map is here, is a series of landowners.
He says desalination should never have been the city's first step to address drought.
It's going to be your most expensive water. That's why there's only 2 of them in the United States, one in Carlsbad and one in Tampa. We really should have been focused on groundwater to diversify our system over the last 20 years. I've been preaching that. It went unheard. We just didn't diversify with groundwater.
As the drought continues, Barrera believes big industry will adjust accordingly.
If we don't meet demand, I'm confident that if industry recognizes that we need to curtail to ensure that citizens of Corpus Christi come first.
Is that legally binding?
No. It's just that I know those folks. I know they're scrambling right now to be able to find other resources.
Okay, so no legal enforcement, just relying on the goodwill of billion-dollar corporations that can't operate without massive quantities of water. Will that be enough? I went to see Bob Paulison, who heads up the industry group representing many of the big oil, gas, and plastic companies, to ask them directly what the companies themselves are willing to do.
Hey, Bob.
Dan, how you doing?
Good.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet
All right.
you. Are your members willing to shut down operations if there is a severe emergency that's declared?
Well, they never want to shut down operations. And they're going to extreme measures right now to figure out how they continue to operate, even if this condition persists and we advance into a level 1 water emergency. These plants represent tens of billions, probably tens and tens of billions of dollars of investment. They're doing everything that they can to avoid shutting down.
I mean, time is up.
No, it's not up yet.
The city manager just shared while we were here, the latest reports are that we could be in an absolute emergency.
It's important to not overreact to every bit of information that appears in the media.
This wasn't the media. This was from government officials sharing scientific reports saying their predictions show this region could be out of water.
If certain things don't happen, it could be 2 months. That's right.
But it's not a lot of time. You say we have time.
Well, I didn't say we had a lot of time, but you said we're out of time. And I said, we're not out of time yet. We're not out of time until we're out of time.
Isn't that the attitude that's gotten us here? That we're not out of time? We're not going to shut these things down until we have to shut them down.
The commitment is to not shut down operations. There may come a time where that there's no other option for that, but we are not there yet.
The only way to force industry to curtail its water use is if the city manager declares a level 1 water emergency. So I went to meet the man himself, Peter Zanoni, who's been giving weekly updates on the city's efforts to increase water supply. Are you prepared to tell the large industrial users that they have to curtail, they have to use less water starting right now?
What we're trying to balance is we're trying to protect our local economy. Well, that's why we're not in any rush to call an emergency.
Zanoni supports the desalination projects and sees it as a necessary part of the solution to the crisis, along with expanding groundwater projects and other initiatives.
We need financial help. I don't think the local ratepayers can afford to pay for water, even for ourselves, given the cost for water today.
It's not that we don't want people to be able to work, but we need water to live, right? And the fact that we live in a country that is supposed to be great, and that you have some of the richest corporations that are outside our city limits, and here we are with crumbling infrastructure and libraries. Our schools are underfunded. That's directly because what industry wants, industry gets from our elected officials, and that needs to change.
Ariza's community group and others are pushing for a fair water amendment on the November 2026 ballot to end big industry's drought exemption, arguing it's unfair for industrial users to pay such low rates while residents face strict water restrictions.
I want to say that we're going to win. We just haven't won yet. This is like such a beautiful place and we don't even value it. So I just like imagine if we actually invested in it the way that we invest in industry. Oh man, like, what could this place be? You know, so that's why I do it.
We are citizens of Corpus Christi, Texas. We are here to survive, to live, to be happy. We are still here and we're gonna fight. Why should we have to give up what we have?
City officials continue to plan for a level 1 water emergency, while the state has responded by approving additional groundwater discharge from the western well field into the Nueces River. More permanent fixes remain elusive as the region faces a choice between big oil and gas and the petrochemical industry and residents. We're going to keep following this story. If you have any tips for us, please reach out at stories@perfectunion.us and continue to follow our reporting in the months to come. Before you go, please support our work by liking this video and subscribing to our channel. We're always looking to tell more stories like this one, unpacking economic systems that impact all of our daily lives. Are there other issues you want to see us cover? Sound off in the comments, and again, don't forget to like and subscribe.